Good morning, everyone. At the outset, I'm really thankful to all of you for giving me a chance to talk about the IUI tips and tricks. I think it's not something great. This is not something new, which is I'm going to talk about. IUI is something which comes from the 16th century, and all of us are knowing like new nice guidelines come up, and in nice guidelines now they not actually recommend the IUI. But still today it holds the true that IUI is a line of a treatment and first line of a treatment in the developing world. Why certain centers have the good IUI results and why certain centers doesn't have the good results is because of first thing is you need to understand is the selection of the patients, and the selection of the patient that makes things which is important to know the success of IUI, and that is the one of the trick one should know. The patient selection is depending upon the age of the patient, number of follicles or number of history which has been stimulated cycles or not, whether it is a natural cycle IUI, whether it is stimulated cycle IUI, whether it is a COH IUI, previous response to the follicles. All of us are knowing the monitoring of the patient should be done by us because we are the gynecologists. We are very much nowadays enhanced with our like endoscopy as well as the UHG skill. We know the color Doppler. We can track the follicle. What I mean by the tracking of the follicle is it's not only the growth of the follicle, perifollicular blood supply that holds true. We need to understand the growing follicles. There is a decrease in RI and PI. So day of rupturing also important, whether it is a rupturing with the, if you are going a natural cycle IUI, what size of the follicle should have been ruptured. If it is a clomiphene citrate, then it is a different size that taken into account, and if it is a gonadotropin cycle, the rupturing or giving a trigger as a different size of the follicle. The semen collection, again there are a lot of things to be discussed when you're talking about the tricks about the IUI. And semen preparation and the timing of the IUI. We all of know timing a single IUI is as effective as the double insemination and the luteal phase support. Does all of the IUI patients require luteal support? Is not like that. Those who are undergoing gonadotropin stimulations require a luteal support, not all of the patients. So if you are going to know the indications of the IUI which will give me a good results during the IUI is unexplained, maybe a cervical factor or maybe anovulatory patients. If I am making those patients going for the IUI procedures, they will give me a better results rather than a severe endometriosis or the tubal factors which is having the poor prognosis. The patient selection, again, I talked about the male factors. If the WHO, if you go through the WHO manual of semen analysis, it's not hold true nowadays because Asian population has a different semen parameters as compared to the European and as compared to the American population. So which is suitable for your setup should be known, because if you're going through the WHO classification or the total motile count which is more than 10 and you are going to have no pregnancies, then you need to change your selection of the patient according to the semen analysis. One should be knowing the normal or mildly abnormal semen parameters. At least it should be the report should be known to us, and it should be done by not by the pathologist. It should have been done with in an IVF lab or with the embryologist who is trained in doing semen sampling procedures as well as the preparation of the semen sample. There is no evidence like intrauterine pregnancies are going to decrease if the single tube is patent. It is not like that. If there is a tubal patency with the one tube also, but need to understand if it is a distal block or if it is a proximal block. If it is a distal block of the tubes, which will decrease the IUI results as compared to the proximal blocks, because proximal blocks may be HHG is because of the corneal spasm, and that can be relieved. So you should be taking that into account. Again, the age of the patient. I've seen many of the times the patient come down to us with the repeated IUIs of doing 3 or 4 times of IUI, but which will not give us a good results. If you go through all the literatures, the best of the results are being achieved when you are doing a COH IUI for 3 cycles only. After that, the results of IUI cycles coming down drastically, and the age of the patient is why important, because we need to understand what is the AFC of the patient and what is the AMH. If the AFC is less and AMH is less, there is no point in doing IUI for 3 cycles also. You have to think that particular ovarian reserve is less and you should act faster. The IUI patient should not usually be offered a IUI in certain conditions, like if there is a very poor count, or if there is a severe endometriosis, or maybe a grade 3, grade 4 endometriosis, where the success of IUI is, even though you done a tubal patency test, and if it is a normal also, the chances of pregnancy is reduced. The natural versus stimulated cycle, all of us are knowing. If I am giving you a 4 pains to write, it is easier for me to achieve one or get one to write on a pad. In the same way, if I am stimulate the patient, if I am having a more oocyte or more follicle, the chances of pregnancy is in a higher side. The which stimulation protocols and which will gives us a good success rate, it's depend upon the previous stimulation protocols, whether she is giving me optimal response with the clomiphene citrate, or whether she is the patient of the clomiphene resistance or clomiphene failure. Then if she's already undergone a stimulation with gonadotropins, which gonadotropin is been used and what is the stimulation protocols. Again, the stimulation is based upon the drug cost. All of is not the same. You cannot just keep on going recombinant FSH, because it should be the patient should be ready to buy that much of the cost of the drug, and the availability of the drug, that is also the important things when you're talking about the ovarian stimulation. The patient acceptability, that is the truth of the nowadays. If you keep on doing a COH IUI, you keep on investing money as well as the mental backup of the patient, and the patient will drain out in an economical way as well as her mental strength. So it is not advisable to keep on stimulating the patients when you are not achieving the desirable results. There is no advantage of adding a GnRH antagonist to the routine IUI cycles, because GnRH antagonist doesn't increase the live birth rate. Automatically, when you are using the gonadotropins, you required a luteal phase support, and that should be again increase your cost factor. The semen analysis, all of us are doing it. We are doing routinely in an IVF lab, but mind well, it should be done by the embryologist, or where you are really, the people are working on it. You cannot be just rely on a semen analysis report which is getting from the pathology lab, because their interpretation is something different and our interpretation is something different. We need to understand, if the semen parameters is really bad, then you must think of what is the, if there is a chromosomal abnormalities or microdeletion of the Y, that has to be come into mind if there is a severe teratozoospermia. Total motile count after the IUI is like when you done the process of a semen sample, the total motile count which holds our success rate. It is not the previous count. It is after the IUI semen sample has been processed, after procedure, what is the count, that makes important thing. Single versus a double IUI, there is no significant benefit of doing a single IUI or a double IUI when you're done a trigger. Trigger is important as far as when you're talking about the follicle, which is the mature follicle, and what is the perivascular follicular vascularity of the follicle. If the vascularity is good, if your endometrium is dynamic, what I mean by the dynamic is not only the growth of the endometrium, it should have a good flow of the endometrium. So again, the trend to be higher success rate in the couples with the male factor infertility observed in a double if there is a sub-male infertility factors. The semen collection, when you're talking about the tips, I will go into the what is the next, how we'll anticipate, and will you try with the sildenafil. I'll not go into the details because the time is short. What semen sample should be used. It is comfortable to use whatever you are using through. It's not like if you go through the workshop and you thought it is the semen parameters, you need to undergo density gradient. It's not hold true. If it is a severe abnormality in the semen factor, then definitely a density gradient is a higher effective in giving a good semen sample, post-wash sample. Semen washing. It's always better to have standardization of your lab. You are the one who is keep on doing the IUIs. You know at what minimal count the pregnancies are achieving. It's your own data that will gives you a confidence rather than depending upon any other manual. But if you go through the literature, it depends upon like even if the 5 million count will give the pregnancies. But if it is a 5 million count, make an attempt to know the morphology of the semen sample. Morphology plays a greater role. how much and like the semen, if you are prepared the semen sample, is how much quantity to be instituted. It is all of us are knowing the volume of the uterine cavity. So it is not advisable to insert more semen sample. That is called as tubal flushing. And we are not going to do a tubal flushing with the semen sample. It is better to give only a 0.3, which is advisable. The catheter, it is always the tips and tricks. What I am talking about is about the catheters. The catheters should be, all of us are buying the catheters from any of the companies. It has already been tested. So there is no point in talking about the testing of the catheters. What is talking about is important is how you select the catheter. If you are used to do with the catheter which is stiff, you can use it. But if you are not used to it, use different catheters, use malleable catheters, use extra soft catheters. There are also in certain cases you feel difficulty in negotiating the internals, even if embryo transfer catheter can be used for IUI, but that is expensive. So you need to understand when you are doing a scan, every scan tells us what way we have to insert the IUI cannula. And there are certain questions like the cleaning of the cervical mucus. Nowadays, none of us are doing it. There is no point in doing a cervical cleaning of the cervical mucus, which will increase the pregnancy rate. Then the bleeding after the procedure, definitely bleeding is not because of the patient, it is because of us and because of the wrong procedure or wrong trauma to the cervical canal or maybe endometrial canal. And that will not decrease per se, but as all of us are knowing, that it's not the embryo transfer. Embryos is going to get formed after 3 to 4 days, and then it is going to get implanted. But there is a chances that if there is a bleeding, you notify it, you talk to the patient, and do not attempt again and again. There is no point in attempting the same procedures again and again. Like cramps during the IUI, it's our fault, our embryologist who is not prepared the proper sample. It contains maybe a pus cells. That is one of the things that is complaining of the cramps during the IUI procedures. Semen reflux, if it is too much of the volume of the semen sample, it coming back, that's called as semen reflux. So how many IUIs? One, तारीख के बाद तारीख के बाद तारीख. It should not happen like that. You need to understand, there is called as a stop, and you need to understand what is the age, what is the AFC, and what is the line of a treatment for that patient. So maybe a one IUI, if you're talking about the age more than 43, if it is a 2 or 3, it's depending upon AMH and AFC. And if it is a young patient, good ovulatory reserve, you can keep on, but not more than 6. There are the literatures after 3, the IUI success decreases down. Thank you for patience hearing. Yeah.